and allow Dr. Geeta to go ahead and get started.
Namaste, everyone. Today we are going to, we have kind of worked out that my signals will be a little different. So we all know, and we don't end abruptly, right? So there will be a chance at the end where you will have time to ask me questions. So instead of starting out with questions, we'll go on. And as we are going along, if you do have any questions, please put it in the chat or put your hands up or whatever. I don't know, Lillian, how. Then Lillian will kind of let me know that there is a question. And if it needs to be answered right then I will do that. And if that question is going to be answered later on in this presentation, then I'll just let you know that we'll be addressing that a little later. Okay. So we'll go over some of this stuff again because I like to review it. We'll review it fast. If you want me to stop and you have questions while we are reviewing it, please feel free to stop me and ask me the question, because the reason why I'm taking so long, as you notice, and I'm going really into detail before we get into habits, this is the foundation. If you do not quite get the foundation, it's going to be very difficult to really implement some of the other things that I'm going to be teaching you, right? And today, I'm really excited. There are a couple of tools I'm going to be giving you that you can put in your toolbox for you to design the life that you want, right? And not what somebody else has. Okay, this is as I said, this is a curricula for discovery and development of the potential within you, right? It is all about self-actualization, becoming the best version of yourself. We talked about the graveyard being the richest place because people are too afraid to take the first step. Not us, right? All of us who belong to Dress for Success, we are resilient. We know how to take actions. The fact that you are here, this is our 4th session, and you guys are still here and showing up, which shows me that you don't belong to this. Okay, now we are going to talk a little bit more today about attention and intention. Self-discipline, what is that? That is intention plus attention, right? We talked about the fact that whatever you focus on, whatever you give, when you make your intention, that is your goals, right? What do you really want to get out of something? Attention always follows that, right? So attention follows intention. What is attention? Oh, okay.
Sorry, no.
Sorry, I'll have to hear you.
No, her application for university, there was no designation for ethnicity.
Can we mute everybody? Okay. Thank you. I want to go back. Okay. Attention, right? We live. Is there any way I can get this bar off from the top? Because I can't see my top, what is underneath. Lillian, is there any way you can take off the top bar for me? That says chat or how do we do that?
No, unfortunately, there's not a way to take that bar off. That's just part of the program.
We didn't have it before and now it's come down. Okay, we are going to talk about attention. We live where our attention is, right? When we direct our attention fully to the present moment, we are fully alive. When we look at the past, right, it's already gone. You can't, if you give attention that, nothing happens there, right? You can't change it. We look at the future, we do know that we can impact or change or make, have the future sometimes what we want, right? By paying attention to the present moment. In the present moment is the only time you can make your choice. Because remember, we talked about choice as being the unit of life. With weight, the unit is pounds or kilograms, right? So with life, our unit is choice. Every present moment is a fork in the road, and we are making a choice as to whether we want to go forward, backward, sidewards, whatever, right? So we are designing our future with the present moment. So, and that is the only time we can really influence anything, right? So our attention should always be in the present moment, because we live where our attention is. Now, can the rest of you see the top of the slide?
Yeah, yes, you
Okay,
can, Dr.
it says
Geeta.
the
It says
success.
the secret of life, and then
Correct.
it has a colon, attention.
Great. So really, that is your first tool, the secret of life, right? And that is attention. Because whatever you put your attention on and focus on, it will also grow. Whatever you focus on grows. So if you focus on something that's negative, that will grow too. And if you focus on what's positive, that will grow also. But if your attention is wandering all over, right? That's why it's so important to have that little mindfulness, self-awareness. Where is my attention? And if it starts wandering, all you have to do is don't get upset, just smile and say, hey, buddy, I think you have to come back, right? And say, come on back. I need you here. You know, you can't be wandering. Right now is not the time. And we'll talk about that, right? We are going to be focusing, and then we are going to take a little time off from that focus for distraction. We talked about it last time, right? But we'll talk about it as we go through these slides. So it is very important that you bring your attention back and start focusing on your task. Okay, so in his book, 1% Better, Brian Kane tells you how to close the gap from where you are to where you want to be. And one of the tools he gives you is, right, that's the name of the book, 1% Better. He tells you the 1% math. If you just work on improving yourself, just 1% per day, which is really not much, then in 1 year, you are going to be 37 times better. Can you imagine that? But then in the second year, you are going to be 1,400 times better, not just 74 times better. It's not just you're adding. This is 1,400 times better. In 3 years, you are over 5,000 times better. In 4 years, you are over 2 million times better. And it just goes on. In the book Outliers, the author tells us that to become a master at anything, to master any subject, all it requires is 40,000 hours, which is really not much when you think about it. And if you just keep on improving yourself 1% better, look at that, where you're going to be in 5 years, right? 76 trillion times better than what you are. And that is just in one thing, right? So look at these figures. Now we are going to look at what is that 1% of your day. We have 24 hours in a day and 60 minutes per hour, right? So when you multiply 24 times 60, Google did this for us, so you don't have to worry about it. It is 1,440 minutes per day. 1% of that is only 14 minutes and 24 seconds. Which is not much, right? All you have to do is figure out your priority. What is the number one thing you know you could be doing that if you spend just 1% of your day doing it, would have the most positive impact in your life? It's just 1%, folks, just 14 minutes and 24 seconds. And so you do not get anything, you know, any obstacles coming your way. Do it the very first thing in the morning. It says, right, eat the biggest frog first thing in the morning. That is your most difficult task or your number one priority. Just do it. The very first thing, so you do not forget it. How simple is this, right? Success, folks, is very, very easy. People complicate it. We procrastinate. Sometimes we are afraid to do some of this stuff because you think, oh, this is tough or something. Guys, there's no such thing as free lunch. You will have to pay the price, either the price of success or price for failure also. You control it. But with success, you can design and achieve whatever you want, right? Because time does go. In 10 years, it's still going to be 10 years. But if you use this 1% math, in 10 years, you will have the life you designed, right? Whereas if you don't use this 1% math, I mean, it works both ways, guys. It's not just for positive. It works negatively also. If that 1%, by the end of the year, you will have 37 times, you will be 37 times better. At the same token, if you don't use that wisely, then you're going to be back down to 0. Okay, so you can either go forward or you can go backward. It's your choice. Like I said, the present moment is a fork in the road. You make your choices and you basically design your life. Okay. Brian Kane, in his book, if you get a chance, folks, just go and get it from the library and read it. It's a really good book. Everyone wants to get better by 1%, but they fail intentionally to invest that 1% of their day because they don't even know that it's a strategy for success. Remember, I was telling you, you're going to learn some tools. This is one of the tools for in your toolbox. Put it in your becoming 1% better, right? Spending 14 minutes and 24 seconds every day on one thing that is important to you, that will make a difference in your life. Then Brian continues. He says, the best place to start is to intentionally invest 1% of your day into yourself and become a better version of you today than you were yesterday. Then you wake up tomorrow and do the same thing, rinse and repeat. It's actually quite simple. And I can tell you, I'm highly disciplined. I do these things. And I just turned 70 last week. And it definitely has made an impact in my life. The reason why this is so impactful is because it's a compound effect, folks. It's not 1 + 1. It's not a linear. You're not adding 1 + 1 = 2 and then 3 and 4. No. This is when you do something daily, you are putting it to the power of consistency. So that consistency is a power, right? So when you do daily everything, you're doing it 100%. So now you are doing whatever you're doing, you're taking it to the power of 100%. Okay. So can you imagine 100 to the power of 100? 2 to the power of 2 is 4, right? 4 to the power of 2 is 16. So that consistency, how many days and folks, it's not like you can say, okay, I'm going to read this book for 14 minutes and 24 seconds today, Monday, and then not read till the weekend and say, okay, now today I'm going to just sit and read and add up all those 14 minutes and 24 seconds and read that many minutes on Sunday. Folks, it doesn't work that way. You have to do it daily because it has got to become a habit. And then when you do it daily, it goes on autopilot. So whether you like it or not, you're going to have that need to read that book, especially when you say, this is my priority, so I'm going to do it first thing in the morning. So you will automatically pick up the book and start reading it. Okay, it has to go on autopilot for you to really do it on a daily basis. And it takes anywhere between 30 to 66 days to form that habit. Okay. So now we'll give some examples here. Do you think any sort of training you want to do? If you focused on just doing it for 1% of your day, right? Just 14 minutes and 24 seconds, would it change your life? Ask yourself the question. Also, how about zero technology for only 14 minutes and 24 seconds? Will that make a difference? Will that change your life? Then what if you spent totally focused on your partner or on your kids for just 14 minutes and 24 seconds, right? You're at the ball game or whatever, if you have children, and you spend really those 14 minutes and 24 seconds really focusing on watching your child play instead of trying to scroll through your cell phone, right? Emails and all that, internet, whatever, social media. Will that make a difference? Or 1% of your day reflecting on your life purpose or living more on purpose just for those 14 minutes and 24 seconds? Would that change your life or make a difference in your life? This is something you have to answer, right? I can't answer for you. I can only answer for myself, and I know it definitely makes a difference. Because what ends up happening is it makes you feel so good that before too long, those 14 minutes and 24 seconds slowly start increasing. You suddenly find that, oh boy, I'm really living my life instead of watching other people's lives, right? When you're on your social media, you're basically, what are you doing? Somebody wants to tell me, what are you doing when you are on your social?
Searching the web?
Right, no, but what are you really watching? How is it?
You're
Are you-
watching, you're
Mhm.
watching other people fulfill their goals.
That's right. And you don't even know whether those things they are really doing, right? Because people can put up, they might be, I mean, when you look at on social media, you look at all these teenagers, right? They put out all this great stuff, how great their life is, and this and that. And look at the suicide rate and depression among the teenagers, right? They're not really putting out what they really feel. They just want to put out something that they would like to feel, or they want to make you feel like, oh, they are having a great life, right? Which is not true. Why would you want to watch somebody else's life, right? And even sometimes you're watching TV. Why would you want to watch some people that you would never invite in your home? How many people that you see on TV those roles that they're playing, right? I'm not talking about these are just actors. How many of the type of roles that they're playing, how many those type of people would you invite in your home, right? So why would you want to sit and watch them? So instead of living, our life is short, folks. It passes pretty fast. I can't believe that I just turned 70. Even my kids, they had to call me up. I went to Florida, that's why, last 2 weeks. And I was there. We decided to celebrate there. And I'm not much into birthdays. I tell my kids they have to celebrate me every day. They can't just send me flowers once a year. So, but I remember I came to this country. I grew up in one room. We had 2 rooms. So we are pretty poor, but I always knew I wanted to come to United States right after high school, study to be a doctor, work among the poor, not get married and adopt children. I mean, it's crazy. I don't even know where all those things came from, but I did. I came here right after high school. I was only 17, put myself through 10 or 12 years of college. And today I'm 70 and I look back, where did those years go? Folks, they go really fast. One thing I can say about the way I have lived my life, I am pretty satisfied. And I've always been self-awareness. I wrote my eulogy long time ago as to how I want people to remember me. So then I went backwards, right? What are the values I should have in my life? What are the virtues? What are the character traits? And how should I behave? And how? Well, you're always work in progress, right? You never really quite get there, because that's what this whole program is. You have this untapped potential within you. It's so deep. It's never ending. You can just keep on improving and just get better and better. It'll always surprise you. Haven't you had some days when you said, really, did I do that? You surprise yourself, right? I know, I surprise myself all the time. And I always think, did I do that? really? Boy, that feels good. So when you just keep on improving 1%, what happens is it starts making you feel good. Instead of the dopamine effect, you get the serotonin effect. And not instant gratification and constant addiction then. Dopamine effect, you start getting addicted to stuff, which is sometimes not as good, right? Because you want instant gratification. You want something long-term, and you know that that long-term goal, remember we talked about the glacier illusion of success, right? Everybody sees that 1/4, which is showing above the water where the person is right now, right? How successful they are because now they've become famous or whatever. You don't see the 3/4, all that blood, sweat, and tears and sacrifices and all the stuff that went before that. But we'll talk about that stuff later. Okay, now, so 14 minutes and 24 seconds, right? The 1% math, plus 1%, plus 1%. Tiny investments that lead to tiny gains, but they add up, right? We said they accumulate, they start growing, and they grow fast. 10 years, right? I don't even know how to say this figure, right? So let's start using 1% of our days to get 1% better today, not tomorrow or whenever. My father used to always kid us about this. He would always say, Geeta, tomorrow never comes. So don't procrastinate. And it's true, tomorrow never comes, right? James Clear, this is another very good book, Atomic Habits. Atomic, basically atoms, they are the smallest molecules, right? They are made up, of course, atoms are made up of electrons, photons, neutrons, but atom is a really small molecule. So you start out with atomic habits. That's how you start building. You don't suddenly have all these massive, we don't usually have this massive success overnight. Somebody asked Steve Martin, how did he feel with his overnight success? And he said, well, I feel very good. This massive success, overnight success, I should say, took me only 15 years. So there's no such thing as overnight success, right? It is going to take you time. So James Clear says, it is so easy to overestimate the importance of one defining moment and underestimate the value making small improvements on a daily basis. Too often we convince ourselves that massive success requires massive action, whether it is losing weight, building a business, writing a book, winning a championship, or achieving any other goal. We put pressure on ourselves to make some earth-shattering improvement that everyone will talk about. Then he continues. Meanwhile, improving 1% isn't particularly notable. Sometimes it isn't even noticeable, but it can have far more meaningful, especially in the long run. The difference a tiny improvement can make over time is astounding. You know, everybody, beginning of the year, I remember that when I go to the gym, we have influx of people on the 1st of January. Everybody has these really great, right? What should I say? They make all these promises to themselves, right? That I am going to get healthy. I want to lose so much weight. I want to do this. So they come to the gym. By the end of the month, we are back to our original baseline of the number of people that were there at the end of the year, right? Most of the people have left. Why? The reason why is they start coming there 1 or 2 hours, whatever they have time before they go to work or whatever. And then they find that it is not happening. Things are not changing that much. So then that motivation that got them started suddenly wanes, right? It gets less and less till they finally just give up and say, no, this is not working. What they do not realize is there is improvement, but it is so small that it is not noticeable. You know, if you lose few ounces, you're not going to see it. But if you keep on doing it, it'll suddenly hit that critical mass and suddenly you will start noticing it. You'll notice that your muscles are toning up, you're losing the weight, and then what you're going to do is you're going to feel good. So now you're going to focus a little bit more on your diet. You'll find out that just having a couple bites of that donut, or instead, having twice a week the latte instead of every day did make a difference. And as you start seeing some of that differences, but it takes sometimes 2 months before you start noticing it, then it is easier. Once you start seeing that, oh, I've lost a pound, then suddenly you'll start noticing that you're losing, you are getting closer to the weight you would like to be. Your muscles are toning up. Suddenly your waistline, your pants are a little loose on you, right? But you have to continue. But the first month you just don't notice because it is so small. That's what James Clear talks about. But there is that tiny improvement. So here's how the math works out. If you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you will end up 37 times better. I showed you that slide, right? We went back to that. But by the same token, if you are 1% worse each day for 1 year, you will decline nearly down to 0. So again, right? Each moment is really a fork in the road. You're making your decision. What starts out as a small win or a minor setback accumulates into something much more. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement. The same way that money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. They seem to make little difference on any given day, and yet the impact they deliver over the months and years can be enormous. It is only when we are looking back 2, 5, or perhaps 10 years later that the value of good habits and the cost of the bad ones becomes strikingly apparent, right? That drift, folks, when you start drifting, the drift is so slow, just like building up success is slow. You don't even realize until you're so far away that it is difficult to get back, right? By day, this is 10 years, 3,650 days, right? There are 365 days times 10. This is what Google comes up with. I don't even know what that means, but I assume it means more zeros, right? So you can go either way, right? Really strike that ball out of the ballpark, right? Or it might just twiddle right there. I'm not much of a baseball fan, so I don't know. I'm more of a cricket or football or basketball. So what did all this stuff that I was teaching you today? Give you those couple tools, right? Little things matter, and they matter a lot, especially when we compound them over time. So let's use 1% of our day, right, to plus 1% today. Folks, we have to do it today because, like I said, there's no such thing. Tomorrow never comes. And if you don't, I'll give you this one hint. That's another tool. If you don't start something within 48 hours from the time you get that thought, it's not happening. You're not going to be doing it. Okay. And then what you're going to do is all this knowledge you're acquiring, right? All the different classes that you're taking with Dress for Success that they're giving you. What you will become, as the Greek philosophers used to say, I think it might have been Socrates, but I'm not sure, but it is, you will become a librarian, right? Librarians are people who have a lot of knowledge, right? They're constantly studying, constantly learning, but they don't apply. So what those Greek philosophers says that instead of becoming a librarian, you have got to become a warrior. You have got to go down into the arena, and you've got to have that blood, sweat, and tears right there in the arena, putting it to action, right? And only then things will happen. Knowledge by itself is just potential energy. To make it kinetic, you have to add action to it. Without action, guys, my dad used to always say, there is no difference between somebody who knows how to read but does not read and someone who does not know how to read and does not read. Right? I'm going to repeat this again, folks. There is no difference between someone who knows how to read but does not read and someone who does not know how to read and does not read. Correct? So make sure, just do one small thing. That's why it's called atomic. Just do some small thing. Even if you don't have 14 minutes and 24 seconds, do something that will improve you, will bring growth into your life. Do it for 1 minute, but do something daily. Okay. My father used to say, in India, it's a common practice that the oldest son takes care of the parents once they get older. But we were 4 girls. We didn't have any brothers. But my dad always said, don't worry about us, your mom and I, because what I'm doing is, even though I'm not making much money right now, I'm still putting away a little bit every day. And with the pension and what I'm putting away every day, by the time we retire, as long as I don't touch that savings, we will be fine because of the compound interest. I learned at a very early age about compound interest. And then my dad also said that this just does not apply to life. I mean, it does not just apply to money, it also applies to life. The habits that you build, the character traits throughout your life, they will compound if you do them consistently. And that's when I love to read. And my dad always told me, you read daily, even 4 pages a day. Can you imagine? Even if you, let's make it easy, just 1 page a day by the end of the year. But this you have to do daily, okay? If you read daily, 1 page a day, 365 days, you have read 365 pages, right? Look at that. That might be a couple of books. Now you're way ahead of other people. Now you keep on compounding that year after year after year. I read almost 5 to 6 hours a day. Can you imagine how that has compounded over the years? Very often, when I'm giving my workshops or anything, especially, I love giving workshops because I learn as well as I learn from you folks. Teaching always helps me connect the dots. And this knowledge now I have, I'm just constantly, my workshops are never the same. You'll notice even when I'm reviewing stuff, I'm bringing in different things because I've read different things, right? In the meantime that I've talked to you, so I'm connecting the dots somewhere else. When I'm looking at the same material, I'm connecting the dots a little differently. So I give you a little different viewpoint, right? So that compound effect is there, folks, throughout. When this program, Giving Cash, is basically the program I developed, so I want to bring it into the school system. And my goal was to have it in all schools in 4 years and take it nationwide. And in 10 years, go globally with this, because I think this is very important for everybody. But with COVID and everything, things have slowed down. It's very difficult. Schools are going through a lot of different upheaval, right? Trying to figure out how they are going to teach the kids. But these little things that I'm teaching you, these habits, these intentions, right? This 1% daily. I want you to start incorporating it so that when we come to the habits, you start doing those things, just 1%, right? So commit to finish and set your intentions. Okay, now we are going to go through real fast review, right? We have been doing this because this will help you basically have that growth mindset, internal mindset required to graduate, navigate social stresses, and successfully embrace future life endeavors such as college, entrepreneurship, vocational education, and employment, right? And what you are going to now come is with your authentic self, your inner self. You will define yourself from within. And you're not going to worry about what people say and what idea they have about you or what they want you to do, right? You will come, you will be the one who will be designing your own life. And you're not going to let somebody else design it for you. The fact that you are where you are, all of you have undergone a lot of challenges in your life. That's why you have joined this organization. And you have made that vow to yourself, right? That we are going to be marching forward. We are not going backwards, right? So this is basically the outcome of this whole program. Mindful self-discipline. We are going to move from impulsive to rational, right? Instead of being reactive, we are going to respond. From the lizard brain, we are coming to the evolved brain, right? Basically from amygdala, we are going to be coming to prefrontal cortex, where we are going to be making good decisions. From conditioned life to design life. from unconsciousness to consciousness, right? We are going to live in the moment with self-awareness. So we do control our action, right? With this program, we are going to go from theory, we are learning the theory, but we are going to practice it. And when you constantly practice, you attain mastery. So you are going to attain mastery to become the best version of yourself. We talked about this, the iceberg illusion, right, of success. I hope everybody got the what should I say? Yeah, PDF of my other slides. I will send you a new one because I added a few more slides, right? So I will send it to I'll send it to Lillian and Cassie, and we'll see, they'll make sure that you get another, because I put down all that stuff about attention and 1%, right? So you'll get all those notes. What is KASH? Zig Ziglar. That is where this originally came. It's an acronym: knowledge, attitude, skills, and habits. When you practice knowledge, attitude, and skill every day, it'll become a habit, right? And then when you practice those habits daily, they become character traits, and they become also automatic. So folks, you can have good habits and bad habits, and they both become automatic. So be very careful what habits you want to have, right? Be very self-aware. This is where the habit forms, right? Intersection of all these three things. And once habits are formed, they become character traits, and those character traits will form your destiny. Because we have good leaders and bad leaders, right? They are still leaders, but one went one way and the other one went the other way. We had people like Hitler. We can't take it away from him. He was a leader, but he didn't have proper values, right? Good character traits. Hence, he became the type of leader he did become. Then we have, on the other hand, we have people like Mahatma Gandhi. We have Mother Teresa, Mandela, all these people, Reverend Martin Luther King, just amazing leaders, right? Because they had good values, good character traits. We went through this. What's your name? Right? The identity. Because everything starts with how we see ourselves, right? Our identity shapes our performance, and how we see ourselves determines how much of our genius we will mine, right? If we feel like we are Superman, then you know you have this amazing potential within you, and you are going to manage every failure, because there's no such thing as failure. And you will know you have the capacity to meet any adversity that comes along, because of that belief within you that you have that potential, right? So what is it? Identity. When you start out with the identity, that's why this program is called The Emergence of the Coffee Bean. As we are going along, we'll talk about it, right? Coffee bean is the one that thrives on adversities, because it knows it brings out the best within itself, right? So when you start out with the identity of a coffee bean, your behavior is like, bring it on, that's like me. So now you have that feeling of empowerment, and that will lead to success. But if you start out with feelings, right, that, oh my God, how am I going to cope with this adversity? I can't do it. So you feel this, have these feelings of disempowerment. So your behaviors are like that of either the egg or the carrot, right? And then that will lead to disaster. Then we went through this. We talked about the story of the egg, carrot, and coffee bean, the 6 prerequisites. We'll go over them a little bit more. Then the boundaries, that's what we are going to try and do today. And the habits and the character traits of a leader. Does everybody remember the story of the egg, carrot, and coffee beans? Well, I will go over it because it's the Success Principles by Jack Canfield. The event plus the response is equal to the outcome, right? When the egg went into the boiling water are the adversities in life. The egg became hard, correct? The egg became hard, embittered, and angry inside, right? Because it becomes hard. The boiling water changed it. Same thing happened to the carrot. The boiling water changed the carrot. Before it was strong, but now it became weak and soft. But in case of the coffee bean changed the boiling water into coffee as well as used. So it made the adversity a little bit better, right? And it used this adversity to enhance itself and turn it into an opportunity for itself. Because until it went in the boiling water, nobody knew about its rich aroma or fragrance, right? It needed that boiling water to bring out its potential. So the coffee bean realized that it needed the adversities to bring out its full potential and for its growth. Hence, now it looks forward to adversities. It chooses to be, excuse me, the exception and adapted to the adversity to become something new, delicious, and delightful, right? The coffee is always makes you feel good. It's delicious and delightful, right? It converted itself into something that was positive. It made itself into something better than it was before the adversity. It took that choice, right, to become better and move forward. We talked about her. She is a coffee bean, right? Look where she is today. Everybody looks up to her. I can tell you this. They keep on asking her, right, whether she's going to run to be a president. She says no. But I can tell you, she's one of the most admired people. And she could really run for any office and people will vote for her. So you know, she is a coffee bean and she went through adversities, right? We talked about it. She was being raised by mom and grandma, and she had a lot of adversities during her childhood, and she was constantly running away from home. And look where she is today. Okay, now we'll talk about prerequisites. We talked a little bit about it last time. What are prerequisites? They are metacognitive substitutes for willpower. there is only so much willpower we have. So use that very cautiously, folks, because if you just depend on willpower, you will sooner or later, you will run out of willpower. And then you will not be able to meet the adversities in your life, correct? So we have to have these habits that I'm going to be teaching you, so that most of those things become automatic and they are on autopilot. So to do that, however, to become that coffee bean, there are a few prerequisites. And what does the word prerequisites mean? These are the metacognitive substitutes for willpower. They are predetermined rules that help to sidestep the painful internal conflict, right? They provide structure and prepare us for when we have encounters with tempting stimuli and that redirect our attention elsewhere, correct? It's like in the morning, you have a meeting or whatever, you meet a friend for breakfast and, oh, that cinnamon roll is so good, right? Or bagel with nice, well, whatever you want to put on top of the bagels, right? There, I mean, I don't even know, there are so many different things. Like if I go to Panera, I know with the bagel, they have all these different things that you can put on your bagel. Well, all that is very tempting, right? And the cinnamon rolls are just smelling so good. Or they have all this amazing pastry. But you know, none of those are good for you, for your health, right? That's not how you should be starting out your day, especially if you want to live a healthy lifestyle. So when you have a prerequisite that in the morning, I am not going to be eating these sweets, I'm not going to eat bagels, I'm not going to eat pastries, I am not going to eat these cinnamon rolls, because to be healthy, this is a prerequisite. I cannot eat those things. When it is already a predetermined rule in your life, folks, believe me, it is easy. You don't even look at it, right? Because you know, you want to be a coffee bean, and this is one of the prerequisites that I need to eat healthy. Okay, so then you're not going to be eating that. It's like if you're a vegetarian and you go to a place that has a buffet and there are 9 dishes that have meat and only 1 is a vegetarian. You know you're a vegetarian. That means you cannot eat any food that has meat in it. So it's a prerequisite to being a vegetarian. So what do? It takes all that temptation out of your way, right? And all you eat is that 1 dish which has vegetarian food. So that is what a prerequisite is. It provides structure and prepares us when there are tempting stimuli. They are predetermined rules. They are the metacognitive substitutes for willpower.
Dr. Geeta, there's 15 minutes before question and answer session.
Oh, yes, because it's only 12:03, right? I've got my, thank you. Oh, okay. So now you can take algebra. Oh, let me go back. This is just an example, right? When you were in high school, you could not take algebra calculus until you had the basic prerequisites, right? Basic math, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fraction. You have to have those. They are not going to teach you, right? So similarly, to be a coffee bean, there are 6 prerequisites. And you have to have them, no exception. I'm going to go through these. And if you have any questions as we are going through these, please put your hands up, because I want to go through some more material. Okay, I know we went through this, but I don't know how fast you thought I went through last time. So these are the 6 prerequisites. You're born with everything you need, no excuses, strong desire, decision to work hard, no such thing as failure, and strong belief, right? We are all unique and we are all supposed to play different roles in this life. Hence, you are going to have different strengths and weaknesses, but you are born with everything you need to perform the role that you were born for. Of course, I was born, if you take my example, even if I want to be a basketball player, I'm only 5 feet tall, weigh less than 100 pounds. And there is no way, right? However much I want to be a basketball player, I can be a basketball player. But I have different strengths. And the career I went into, I had everything I needed. And now, 20 years ago, I retired and I became an educator. And I've been working with the inner city children. But I was born with everything I needed to perform that role. And same thing applies to all of you. Each one of you have your strengths and your weaknesses because to play the role that you need to in this lifetime. Figure out what that role is, depending on your strengths and your desires and your likes and dislikes. That will tell you what role you're supposed to play. And then start working on your strengths. So you're born with everything. So don't think you need anything more. Whatever you have is enough. Just remember that. You're an acorn from which grows the mighty oak. Remember this. It's from the acorn grows the mighty oak. It doesn't say, right, some other tree, correct? You were on to a great start even before you were born. The fact that you were born, right, there was a 1,000,000 to 1 chance of 1 sperm joining 1 egg. And you faced, when you have faced such odds, you'll never have to face any such odds for the rest of your life, right? No excuses. Can't versus can. Take the T off. And you can. It's always. No handicap can hold you from achieving your goals. We talked about this last time, our first one. I can't remember what are excuses. My definition of excuses is rationalized lies. And we talked about Wilma Rudolph, right? She was born 4.5 pounds. She had, before she was 5 years old, she had pneumonia, scarlet fever, and infantile paralysis. So she had to wear a brace in her left leg. Her mother told her that she can become whatever she wants to be if she just got rid of her braces. So what happened in the Olympics, 1960 Summer Olympics? She won 3 gold medals. And in the 1960s, this is a woman, this was a person who had brace until she was 12 years old. And she was considered the fastest woman in the world in the 1960s and became the first American woman to win 3 gold medals in a single Olympic Games. Strong desire. So we can even use her as a strong desire, right? She had that strong, Wilma Rudolph had this strong desire to get rid of her braces, right? Same thing with Oprah. These are the different examples. Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, when his father had to work towards getting him off practicing golf instead of trying to force him. So what is a desire. This is what it is. A true desire is not to have, but to be. We are whole creatures with potential, and it is the desire to unfold that wholeness, right? To become what we can be. Desire is a presentiment of our inner abilities and the forerunner of our ultimate accomplishments. We talked about him. Decision to work hard. This is making a commitment, 100% commitment to work hard. You have to make that commitment. And as Edison said, there is no substitute for hard work. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% hard work. So it comes from the Latin word. Edison, it took him 1,000 times before he could make the light bulb, and Colonel Sanders, 1,000 times door knocking, and 2 years before somebody gave him money to start KFC, right? Decide comes from the Latin word which means cut off. It literally means to cut off everything except the things that matter most, right? That's where the attention and the focus comes in. That 1%. You just cut off everything else and you just focus on your number one priority. What is WIN? It's an acronym for what's important now. So you just focus on what's important now, that 1%. We went through this. I'm not going to go through this. These are distractions. If you open up just 25 emails a day, evenly paced across the day, you will spend literally no time in the zone of maximum productivity. I'm just putting it kind of in a very, right, that you'll not be able to optimize your life, because if you 70% of the office emails are read within 6 seconds, right? So don't take breaks from distraction. Instead, take breaks from focus, right? You should schedule the occasional break from focus to give into distraction, right? All this stuff. No such thing as failure. We talked about it. You fail only when you quit. You learn or you win, right? There's no such thing as failure. It is an outcome. It is a gift that is sent as a valuable lesson for your success. It is an ingredient for future success. It prepares you, but it does not define you, right? It is a feedback. It instructs you. John Maxwell, who is known for giving all these wonderful teaching, leadership, he says, sometimes we win, sometimes we learn, but we never lose. Failure means it needs work. It's basically, I have not learned it yet. How can I improve on this, right? Your adversities are your advantage. Your past has built muscles, not wounds. So now we come to, right, we get what we think we deserve. So believing in ourselves, seeing ourselves as enough and worthy of the best things life has to offer you is necessary, right? And that brings us to our next prerequisite, strong belief. What you believe has a much greater impact on your life than what anybody else believes, right? So you must choose to expect good things to happen to you or expect to change challenges into opportunities. So basically, faith is really your consent to let your own uniqueness unfold and to let that which is attracted by your uniqueness manifest in your life. You can only be you. However, you can unfold more of you that may have long been frustrated, or right, you have just kept it inside you. It is expectancy. So what do you expect? Right? You will always receive what you really expect. So now, write down 3 behaviors, real quick, folks, that align with being a coffee bean. And write down 3 behaviors that cause you distractions that don't align. Just 1 or 2 words. I'll give you a few minutes because we don't have as much time, but just write down 1 or 2 words. And then we can put it in the chat, and then Lillian can monitor that. Just write down something very, very simple. 2 words.
Okay, we got someone that says belief in myself, confidence, habits, and attention.
Okay.
Another person says avoiding discomfort, is a major distraction, exercise and attention.
Great. So this is something I want you to think about and write down as homework, because you are going to need to do some work here, folks. And this is going to be something that I would like you to do. Write down what things really align for you, right? Because each one of you is unique, individual. So there are going to be different things.
And we got a couple more.
Okay, let's have.
I've got someone that says I am resilient, hard work, and willingness to learn. Got another one that says 1, align with coffee bean philosophy, focus, intention, and perseverance. Bonus, resilience. Another one that says faith, good work ethic. And another one that says I am a coffee bean.
Okay. Okay, but I want behaviors, right? That either bring you closer to being a coffee bean, or behaviors that will take you away from being a coffee bean, right? You are a coffee bean. So now, how are you going to practice it is what I'm looking for here. Okay, then you have to write down the degree of distraction for each behavior that does not align with it, right? For example, if you're a kid and in a classroom, you just giggle. Well, that is a form of distraction, right? But then you go and kind of elbow your neighbor, the other kid. Now that is a little bit greater degree of distraction, right? And then that starts a domino effect. And before you know, everybody in the class is giggling and nobody's paying attention to the teacher, right? So you have different degrees of distraction. So you have to write down what are going to be the different degrees. I want you to then analyze those distractions, right? 1, 2, or 3, 1 being the least and 3 being, and then I want you to put consequences next to each one of those things. We'll go more into detail next time, but do this as a homework, right? And the degree of consequences and impact. Right? Remember this, everything starts with a thought. So you control that thought. If you have an angry thought, you are going to behave, right, in a very angry manner. So your actions are going to be that of an angry person. And when you keep on having those same thoughts over and over again, it becomes a habit, and that habit leads to character, and that leads to your destiny, right? This is a principle. Okay, now I want you to tell me just real quick, because we don't have, I think it's almost 12:20. I want to have an idea how much you know about these habits, right? Habit 1 is be proactive. 1 is I have no idea. 2, I have heard of it, but don't know how to apply it. Number 3 is I understand the habit and how to apply it, but don't actively apply it. And the last one is I understand it and I apply it, right? So we'll do this real fast. Just put down in the chat, habit 1, just put down 1 dash, whichever one it is, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I have an idea how much detail I have to go into, right? We'll start habit 1, put it down. And then what did we come up with habit 1? What does it show in the chat? Lillian?
It is showing a lot of people showing 1.
Okay.
I was on 1s and 2s, 1 and 3, 1 and 4, 3 and 4. And it is, and then also gotta just make you aware the time is 12:18.
Right, correct. So, okay, how about 2?
There's no 2s.
Well, no, they're just going to now write down, right, in the chat. Habit number 2, where, folks, I just want to know how much you know. So how much I have to go into detail, because I want to make sure you understand these ideas, these habits.
And there's a 2 and then there's a 3.
Okay. All right, now we are going to go to habit 3. Just put down 1, 2, 3, 4 for this habit 3, right, in the chat. So I have some idea. Later on, I can get all these because we save the chat, right? So Lillian will be able to send me whatever this is. Since we are going to do just the first 3 for this session, but first things first. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, or 4?
We're getting a lot of 3s and 1s.
Okay, good. All right, we won't go the next ones, folks. Just think about it and let me know next time. Does anybody have questions? Because we have 10 more minutes. If you have any questions on all that we learned, if you do not have questions, I will continue with what is an acronym that you think a leader is.
Excuse me, Dr. Geeta.
Mhm.
I know I had some technical issues last week.
Sure.
And I saw previously, because I reviewed some of these workshops for thank you for letting them be recorded. How can we access those? I thought I accessed them before and I had difficulty. So I don't know if it was just me or is somebody from
That
Dress
Lillian
for
will,
Success.
Lillian should be able to tell you, but why don't you, I don't know whether right now Lillian knows and whether.
They're on our Facebook page.
Oh, that's where they were, on the Facebook page versus, okay, because I was looking on the website itself. So thank you. Thanks, Lillian. Thanks, Dr. Geeta.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I'm sorry, is there?
We load them we load them within 24 to 48 hours after they've been recorded.
So there's a Facebook page for this website, or you mean for Dress for Success?
The Facebook page for Dress for Success client.
All right, thank you.
Right, just for clients. And I don't know whether it's accessible to everybody, or all the clients, or just those who are taking? I have no idea. But I'm sure, I think it's accessible to all clients, right? Whether you take the course or not. I'm
It's
not sure.
accessible to everyone.
Okay.
Dr. Geeta, happy
Uh-huh.
belated birthday. And I have
Oh,
one of the books.
oh,
I got
you
out of
do?
the
Which
library.
one? Which one?
The Atomic Habits.
Yes,
so
by.
I figured I'd
right.
start with the smallest one that talked about the atoms.
There is also, there are a bunch of other books. Next time I will give you the one that was written first by B.J. Fogg, and it's called Little Habits, or even something. I'm not quite sure, but yeah, that's also very easy. Then there is another book that I just got, and it's from Zero to Zen, how you form
Zero to
these
Zen.
little habits. Yeah, it's a real old book, so I had to kind of find it. But
I'm waiting
yeah.
for your book and your curriculum to come out. You said
Yes,
you wanted
that's
to
going
share
to
it.
be, that's my focus next year. So I'm going to cut down on my workshops, and I'm just going to, because I've got all the stuff, but I want to get it out. So, okay, now leaders. Thank you though. Thank you for saying
No,
that.
thank you.
This is my acronym for leader, but I change it as I go along. And I will give you some, this is in your PDF, some other things that you might think about what leadership is, because all of you are leaders without a title, okay? We are all leaders. First, we have got to learn to lead ourselves, right? We are leaders of ourselves. So what type of leader do you want to be? What are the character traits you want, right? And you'll change depending on phase of your life, right? Right now, my leadership is more mentorship. When I was younger, in my 20s, I was more competitive, type A personality. So my leadership style was different than when I was in my 30s, once I had a family. That leadership was different, right? Because I was a leader outside in my profession, but at home, you're not the same leader. If you are try to bring in those same qualities into the home life, believe me, it's a total disaster. You can't be the same type of leader. So depending on what phase in your life you are, you will have become a leader that type, right? So all these will start changing. Your priorities will change. Now, I want you to do this. This is very important. Name 3 leaders you admire the most. Then list 3 character traits you admire in them. And then find out, are these the character traits that do you have in you, right? Because each one of us, depending on the type of leadership we admire, it could be anybody, right? It could be your mom, your dad. The qualities that my parents had, they were my role models. They were somebody that I tried to emulate. Because my dad gave up a lot and made a lot of sacrifices because he refused to compromise his integrity. And in any position, especially in third world countries, developing countries, you have to compromise your values. And my dad refused to do that. So I learned from that, and he was ready to make sacrifices for himself and his family.
Dr. Geeta?
Yes, we are almost there. 2 minutes left.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
And,
now I'll give you, folks, I'm going to just give you my, I think if everybody got my, the PDF that I sent to, and I'll send the new one. It has at the bottom my information. Right. Next week, we will start with habit number 1. But because the first 4 habits is how you become a leader. Right? This is my information here. If you need anything, email me. That's the best way, and put down subject matter, Dress for Success client. So I know, then I'll open it definitely. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me any of your questions. And next week, we will start with habit number 1. Okay, so I'm not going to review a lot of this stuff. I just wanted to make sure you got most of the things. Now that I've sent you the notes, make sure you read them over. And if you need to, go back to Facebook, right, and review any of these sessions. I don't know how they have turned out. I might have to go and do it myself. Any questions before we go? And I want to thank all of you. I admire all of you are still sticking it out, coming every week. And in case you don't know or you have forgotten, we got 3 more sessions after today. And I'm looking forward to those. I'm learning a lot from you folks. And also you have my email, right? So send me any questions you have. And I'll make sure that we address them. Either I'll address it directly or we'll do it in the next session.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Geeta, and thank you, everyone, for showing up today. It's been a wonderful session, and we want to thank Dr. Geeta for showing us how to be resilient this evening. And we want to welcome everyone back in 2 weeks for another session on the KASH principles, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you.
And if anybody has family members, and even children, teach them this and you will learn it, right? So you'll have an accountable partner that you can both do things together.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Geeta. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Geeta. Thank you,
Bye
everyone.
now. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.